First, let's talk about body line. The better your body line becomes, the more efficient your handstand becomes, and the easier, more advanced skills such as the one-arm handstand will become. The optimal body line is having all joints stacked directly over your first knuckle. You want your hands shoulder width apart, point your finger at 12 o'clock, and fingers gripping into the floor like you're trying to grab it. Elbows should be locked out and shoulders should be straight, in line with the torso, and shoulder blades should be elevated by pressing into the floor, becoming as tall as possible in this position. You want your core to be tight by pulling your belly button into the spine. The hip angle should be neutral with your glutes engaged, legs squeezed together, quads flexed, and last but not least, point your toes to finish your body line. So the place that you want to start working your body line is going to be against the wall. This way you can forget about the balance aspect of it for a minute and rely a little bit on the wall while working on that proper alignment, making sure you're tall through the shoulders and keeping all the other principles that I talked about previously in mind, right? And this is where you want to work on your endurance. Probably trying to work up to at least 30 seconds is good before working on maybe getting a freestanding handstand, because you're always going to be able to do it longer against the wall. Andrew Lynn is demonstrating both ways of bailing out of the handstand that you do against the wall, right? So either option is safe. And once you get that endurance and that comfort in that position, you can start to work on some of your other shapes, such as your straddle. So this teaches the proper alignment of your straddle position, right? And then you can also work on going into your tuck. So on both of these, she finds a position and starts to float off the wall a little bit, right, to understand that position, but still has that wall there for balance if she needs it. Once you have these done, you can start to work on your kick up, and this will be when you're looking to progress to a freestanding handstand. So at first you might hit the wall sort of hard, but you're going to be able to kick off a little bit and float a little bit more and more, relying less and less on the wall as you get better. So these next two drills are the ones you're going to want to start to work on when you're ready to take it off the wall and do your freestanding handstand. First, we have the bunny hop, important point being to keep your ribs glued to your thighs, right? And this is going to prevent you from falling over if you hit that point where you can float a little bit. But this will give you the idea and mechanics of press skills and handstands before you necessarily have the strength to do so, right? And the balance to keep that. And after that, we have the scorpion or the drinking bird, right? So you want to make sure you have a straight body line from your foot that's coming off the ground, right, all the way out to your hands. And you want to maintain that body line while you're pressing up into a handstand and trying to float a little bit, making sure to pull both your legs apart as if you're trying to do an air splits, right? Pulling toe to the floor and other foot up to the ceiling or to the wall behind you, right? And this will maintain your rigidity.
So we're going to try doing some handstands on some blocks and on some canes. The biggest difference with these ones is that those are blocks that are higher off the floor. A lot of more professional hand balancing canes, they'll actually have a wobble in it, which to audience members, it looks like they're doing something more sketchy, but it actually means that the equipment is doing some of the balancing for you. With blocks and with canes, because you have something to hold on to, you're able to work on your grip and your hand placement. So by putting your 2 fingers in front, 2 fingers on the side, you're able to control whether you're pulling forwards and the squeeze on the side. Okay, when you're on the floor, for some people, it's a lot more difficult to actually grab onto the floor. So by training it on the blocks, they'll develop the strength to be able to do it on the floor. Okay? Once you get to the canes, the hard part is getting up. So basically going from the floor to the blocks to the canes, the floor is the easiest to get into a handstand on, but it's the more difficult to balance. On the blocks, it's a little bit harder than the floor, but a little bit easier to balance. On the canes, it's the hardest to get up, but once you're there, then you can do your bigger tricks.
A lot of people like to do handstands on the parallettes as well. The thing with the parallettes is because it's a bar, you can kind of pull on it, so when you're balancing going forward and backwards, you can kind of pull and push on it a little bit easier, so it's easier to correct yourself once you start to fall over either direction. The difficulty with the parallettes is once you start to progress to one-arm skills, you don't have as much control laterally because you're not really pushing on anything, you just have the bar there, right? So it's pretty easy for two-handed skills. I would say much easier than the floor, and probably even almost easier than the blocks and the canes. But to do one-handed skills, it's quite a bit harder. The other benefit of the parallettes is if you don't have wrist flexibility yet, like bringing it to 90 degrees is difficult for you, it might be an easier option to deload the wrist a little bit. Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed the video and learned a little bit about handstands and how to improve yours. If you like the blocks that you saw we used in the video, we actually make these and sell them. So these are handmade by us here. You can find them on defyingfitness.com and purchase any if you'd like. And
yeah, and if you're interested in any training by any of the Defying Fitness crew, you can contact us on our website, defyingfitness.com. Check us out on Instagram and on Facebook. We've got lots of events coming up in Toronto in the new year, and lots of events will happen across Canada, so keep an eye out.
Yeah, and make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more. And let us know in the comments if you want to see more videos with Andrew, if you have any questions for her that we can address in the next video. All right, peace.